1-800-MEN, Bird.
Robust, urban-style men. Robust, urban-style men. Robust and pungent-smelling men. Robust bird breasts. I just wanted some sauce on those zingers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill. A couple shameless plugs. I stream almost on a nightly basis on this channel, at least through the weekdays. So come check me out and see if I'm here at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. 7:30 p.m. Let's see if I could say that without tripping over my words on this channel nightly. So subscribe to Review Tech. So subscribe to Rich Tomorrow for more live streams, gaming content, and coming soon, some shorts here. Also, too, I know I've been talking about it, but I'm juggling between a couple ideas here. Don't worry, I'm not saying any of them are going to be Netflix quality, but I'm having fun making them. Sub to my Tech 25 ASMR channel. I post ASMR videos there, and I don't lick the microphone, and I don't dress up as the Tooth Fairy, and I'm not going to pretend to be your caring and understanding girlfriend. It's just soft-spoken, laid-back ASMR about technology, gaming retrospectives, talking about my history in gaming, and I made a DSP gaming ASMR video. Unfortunately, no, I'm not kidding, but it's there, and you could go watch it. So also sub to Tech 25 ASMR. All right, so the website that you're looking at here is suedbynintendo.com. I didn't know this was a thing until I was making this video. And I'm actually very thankful for it, because every time I make a video talking about how Nintendo is sue happy, I'm like, what was that case again? What was that other case? What was that time they sued someone for something ridiculous? What was that other time where someone just made a tech demo using Unreal Engine and the Super Mario 64 tech demo that they were not being paid for was taken down? But here, I'm sure there's ones that are missing. But nonetheless, it just shows you that Nintendo is absolutely over the top and egregious and draconian with their IPs. They don't care. Even if you were just doing something showing your love for a Nintendo product, they're like, we don't care about your love. Even if it's not going to cost us any money, we want to make sure that we protect our IP to an obnoxious degree, to the point where consumers start to hate them. And yes, I saw notifications for Steam coming up in the bottom. You're just going to enjoy those like a man. Let's start with this. These are ones that I forgot about. Like I said before, I remember hearing about this ages ago. Nintendo sued Blockbuster for copying instruction books. And if you want to check out more, I'll have a link to this website, and they have sources for all of these lawsuits and legal actions that Nintendo has taken. Nintendo sued Blockbuster for copying instruction books. Yes, this is a real thing. Nintendo wanted video game rentals to stop renting their games, and since Blockbuster used to make copies of the instruction booklets for each game, Nintendo sued them for copyright violations. Yes, Nintendo used to hate that games could be rented from back in the day when you used to go rent VHS tapes or DVDs. Nintendo hated it because in their minds that took a sale out of their pocket. But what they didn't realize is a lot of people would rent the games because they couldn't afford to actually buy the game and they just wanted to try it out. And Lord knows, I am sure many people, I know I've done it when I was a kid, where you would go rent a game, you would like it so much that you would go around and buy it. But we're talking about Nintendo here. They shoot themselves in the foot with how strict they are with their IPs. A fan-made Pokemon MMO was shut down. A group of fans created an MMO version of Pokemon, and Nintendo sent a cease and desist letter requesting them to take down the website and surrender the domain name to Nintendo. Oh, I remember this one. Nintendo claimed ad revenue on videos from users on YouTube. Nintendo used the YouTube Content ID to claim revenue from user-generated videos. The company registered its copyright content on the system in order to include or claim money from video ads. So yeah, I remember there were ages when I used to do my news stories with gameplay. I had to stop using Nintendo footage. Even though I didn't use any audio, even though it was just gameplay, and even though, yeah, even at that time in 2013, using gameplay footage. Actually, there's a lot of commentary channels that even weren't gaming channels that would use gameplay footage. It was a fairly normal thing back then, but Nintendo was like, yeah, you could do that, but don't use any of our gameplay footage. Even though doesn't cost us any. Like, you're showing gameplay, talking about probably during that era a completely different topic, but Nintendo's like, no, we want all the money from everything, even if it's a legal gray area if we should get it or not at best. This is one of my go-to examples right here. There was a remake of Metroid 2 called Another Metroid 2 Remake, AM2R. Kind of sounds like ASMR. Anyway, a fan made a remake of M2 got removed with takedowns by Nintendo, and every website that hosted the ROM received DMCA takedown notices. This one's an interesting one. This is why I'm glad this site exists, right? So Switch Online, I remember making a parody video about this because the Switch Online, the launch was absolutely abysmal. Essentially, well, let me read this first. When the Nintendo Switch Online service, priced at $20, launched, it was the subject of various fan complaints, because essentially, hey, you like playing Splatoon online? Oh, that's cool. Now you have to pay $20 for it to play online, and you're getting no benefits. Oh yeah, we'll send you a crumbs of old games we had for older platforms with the Nintendo Switch Online service. But remember how you were playing online for free before? Now we're just going to make you pay to do the same exact thing. Congratulations. This is the other one I forget that I always bring up. I love this site. A C64 fan port of Mario Brothers was taken down. A fan made Mario Brothers port for the Commodore 64. Commodore 64, early 80s. Like, you would probably have 20 people who were, whatever, even if it was 5,000 people that were interested in this. Were you going to make a port, official report, or a port, Nintendo, of Super Mario Brothers for the Commodore 64 and sell it? Were you going to do that? Let me know. Like, was that actually going to be a thing? But whatever. Here, a fan made a Mario Brothers port for the Commodore 64 after working on it for 7 years. But some days after releasing it to the community, Nintendo sent a takedown to websites that hosted the project. I guess if you really want to stretch, Nintendo was like, oh my God, someone may take this port and use it with an emulator and play Super Mario Brothers for free. Oh no, they may lose 2 copies or 2 people that might sign up for Nintendo Switch Online to play Super Mario Brothers, which to this day you could find 7 billion ways to play. Maybe that's like, if you really stretch it, how that would have damaged them. That some people may play a port of Super Mario Brothers for the C64 that's unofficial, then that would play the actual game through an avenue that Nintendo could monetize. A Super Mario 64 PC port. This was made with Unreal Engine, a fan-made PC port of the game, and the company filed copyright takedown to meeting Nintendo for any video on YouTube showcasing the game and websites hosting the game. Now, I remember seeing video of this port. It was the first level of Super Mario 64, I believe. All it was a showcase. It was demoing the game. I can't even show you footage here. Literally, Nintendo could come after me for it, and it's tough to find footage. And even, like I said, if you do find it, I couldn't show it in this video. It was actually pretty mind-blowing. Again, the person who made the port, they weren't looking for money. It wasn't even the full game, like I said, if this is the actually proper case here. And yeah, it had to be taken down, because even if you were just showing your love for Nintendo IPs, Nintendo doesn't care. And it is proven time and time again. I know there's been more recent events here. Like I said, I'll have a link to this website below in the description. I could sit here and talk about these all day, and this would be an 11-hour video, which might be beneficial because YouTube loves watch time. But nonetheless, let's get into the luscious meat and potatoes of this story. Now, this case is pretty interesting because I feel like Nintendo with this one may have had some reasons to take this guy down. It wasn't just them being egregious. Like 95% of the time they are. Trust me, I'm not defending Nintendo. Their business practices, let's not go into what they're doing with the Switch 2 as well, have sucked, especially recently. And they've always sucked with how absolutely ridiculous they are with their IPs. But nonetheless, this comes from yahoo.com. I always have the links below in the description. I'm going to read this to you. Then we will discuss. A streamer who found himself in the legal crosshairs of Nintendo has been ordered to pay $17,500 in damages to the company. Nintendo sued Jesse EveryGameGuru Keighin in 2024. I think I remember Moist Critical actually covering this about a year ago, accusing him of live streaming pirated games before they were released and sharing links to Yuzu and Renew's emulators. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, dude, you are cooked. Let's continue here. Keighin had gone on the offensive after he was accused, telling Nintendo that you might run a corporation, but I run the streets, on his social media channels via Torrent Freak. The lawsuit accused Keighin of streaming leaked Nintendo games since 2022, and Nintendo claimed his actions had cost the company millions of dollars in lost video game sales. Keighin reportedly did not have a prepared defense for the case, leading to a default judgment against him. So not only is this dude brazen, but he is a complete idiot. Nintendo had also requested, and this is where Nintendo goes out of control like they always do when it comes to their IPs, but Nintendo had also requested a broad permanent injunction against Keighin and any third parties working with him to prevent them from using emulators, as well as the destruction of all infringing hardware and software. But the Colorado court did not agree to this request, rejecting it as unclear and unreasonable demands, which it absolutely is unreasonable demands, because way too over the top, and there would have to be way too much monitoring and babysitting. Like, you won, Nintendo. You won. I know that Nintendo really loves making examples. They're like the biggest sore winners I've ever met, where it's like, oh, hey, we won this case. Now we want to ruin you for the rest of your life, to put the fear of God in people to never dare do anything, even if it's just a free fan service with our IPs. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to chill any kind of community around their IPs, so God forbid someone may make a penny. Now, this guy is a little different here. Actually, let me flip the screen over here. This is a new setup. I'm trying to learn it right now. Now, this dude is a little different here, right? He was linking to the emulators. He was showing pirated games. I don't think that any developer, third-party publisher, or Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo would have dealt with this any differently. But the reason why people always look at Nintendo with this, with ire, is because they, like I said, I'll have that website Sued by Nintendo link below. They have always been terrible. You know, here is a company that wants to build this strong community around their games, maybe almost more, say, for Valve than any other developer, publisher, and hardware maker out there. And at the same time, they're like literally torturing their own consumers. Now, this guy was an idiot, okay? All around. I run the streets, live streaming pirated games, telling people how to play the pirated games with the emulators. There's no one on the planet that would have been okay with that. And it's, dude, he knew. How do you not know? Obviously, he's sitting there rebelling against Nintendo, so he's terminally online, this guy. Obviously, he knew what the repercussions could be. And then you're doing this like you're fighting against a man, and then you have a court case, and then he didn't come prepared at all. Okay. But, this, like I said, is a weird case because of how this guy reacted, how brazen he was, and how unprepared he was for the legal consequences. But again, as you see with that permanent injunction that Nintendo wanted to place against him, they always take it a step too far. They always go a step too far. They're always too overprotective. I look, Counter-Strike, I always bring this. This is my go-to example from over a decade ago, but it's true. Counter-Strike was birthed as a mod. Like they used the engine that Half-Life was built on, and they're like, you know what, we could do something with this, and they did. And they made Counter-Strike, and now look how big Counter-Strike is now, skins and all, unfortunately. So I am sure, whether Nintendo realizes it or not, because their intellectual property mindset is stuck in like the 80s at best, that they probably missed out on multi-billion-dollar ideas because they rather suppress people who love their products than actually work with them. Again, this guy was really pushing piracy, so it's different. But 9 times out of 10, Nintendo is in the wrong when it comes to these IP cases. And yeah, this wasn't an example of one, but if you check out that website I show below, you'll see how awful Nintendo has been throughout the years. This is Rich Tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to Rich Tomorrow, and make sure you subscribe to my Tech 25 ASMR channel. And I'll see you all in the next video.